to the flag of the United States, and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Twice today.
Okay, I would like to mention that it is required that everybody sign in. I know some of you were here prior to the paper being out there, so at some point, if you would sign in, if the paper gets full, turn one over and just sign it on the back, please. Okay, first up is Greg Henry. Evening. Yeah, that'd be fine, or either one. Yeah, if you care to sit or stand, either one.
I only take just a few minutes of your time, so I'll just stay right here.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Greg Henry, and I am the chairman of the Veterans Memorial Swinging Bridge. And I'm here tonight to thank everyone in the county, basically, for all the help that we've gotten for our project. And our main goal is to rededicate the bridge on July 3rd of this year. And it will be 100 years old. So I guess it's time that we do something for it. And so we've decided we want to rededicate it. And we're inviting everyone in the county to come to the celebration on July 3rd. And we're asking commissioners, if you would, to designate July 3rd as Veterans Memorial Swinging Bridge Day throughout the county. And like I said, we want to invite everyone to come to the celebration. It'll be held in the Winnemac Town Park, beginning around 5 o'clock. And there will be more information put out later on as to all the activities that we plan to have. So I guess my question to you all is, that the board recognize the historic impact of the bridge of Pulaski County and the honor it holds to the veterans of Pulaski County. And if we could adopt a resolution for the bridge for that day. And we're just asking for your blessing and to pass that out to the entire county.
All right.
I'll make a motion to make the swinging bridge designation on July 3rd.
Okay. All right. Proclamation. Okay. I would second that motion. We got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Carla?
Thank you. I'm here this evening for more of information purposes, and I feel given the potential commercial solar projects that might be in the county, that maybe this, if things progress, should be something that I should do at your meetings, possibly monthly, if things progress. I just wanted to update everybody in regards to the projects that potentially could take place in Pulaski County. As you're aware, Stark Solar, which is Mammoth Solar, was issued a permit for commercial solar on November 3rd. It's a 600 megawatt project in two different areas, their central and south area. Central is approximately 600 watts and south is 300 megawatts. There's a little over 9,000 acres that they do have control of. It doesn't mean 9,000 will be covered by panels due to setbacks, DNR, and just other regulations, buildings and whatnot. This spans through Beaver, Franklin, Jefferson, Monroe, and Rich Grove Township. So as I said, they are the only ones who have been issued a permit. We do have 3 other companies who have come to Pulaski County with intent to also potentially start their projects. Invenergy is a project they label Bottle Brush, 200 megawatt project, approximately 5,700 acres, where potentially 1,500 acres would have panels. This would be in Salem and Beaver Townships. And again, we do not have a permit. I do not have applications, nor do I even have any documentation from this company. NextEra, their project, Moss Creek, as a lot of you would be aware, we've had a special exception that was approved by the Board of Zoning when that was a process. 200 megawatt project in Beaver Township with approximately 1,620 acres. Again, no application from NextEra. LightsourceBP is the fourth company that has reached out to Pulaski County. This project is called the Mayapple Project. And the developer that I've been working with in regards to this project is Darrin Jacobs, who is here this evening and would like to share information in regards to BP Light Source project.
Darrin?
Thank you, Carla. This is a little high for me.
Okay.
Good evening, commissioners. I appreciate the opportunity just to address you. There's nothing really formal tonight. I'm just coming before you to introduce myself and LightSource. As Carla alluded to, I'm Darrin Jacobs, and I'm a development manager with LightsourceBP. LightsourceBP is a global solar developer, founded in 2010, and we have approximately 1,000 team members across 19 different countries. To date, LightsourceBP has put under a panel around 9 gigawatts of solar power. In 2000, you'll notice that the LightsourceBP in 2017, LightSource Renewable Energy entered into a 50-50 joint venture with British Petroleum. So we are partners with BP. We're not owned by BP. We just have entered into a 50-50 partnership with them. With that process, we developed some projects for BP. What's a little bit unique with LightSource BP is we are owner operators of our solar projects. So more often than not, we're going to be the ones that develop them. We're going to be the ones that build them. We're going to own them and maintain them through the life of the project. On occasion, like I said, we do develop some stuff for BP, and we've also sometimes have developed projects for other large-scale utility companies as well. The U.S. itself, so we've really become, in the last 5 years, the U.S. team has really grown. We're over 250 employees spread across the U.S. Several folks even live here in Indiana. I'm one of them. We have several team members that live here in Indiana. Just the U.S. team alone has developed 300 gigawatts of solar power in the U.S. 2 projects that we've done in Indiana. So we have one project called Bellflower that's around 180 megawatts DC that is in both Rush and Henry County. It goes across the county line there. That project is almost online. It's in final testing phases and should be operational within the next few weeks. We have a similar size project that is currently under construction in St. Joseph County. That project's called Honeysuckle. And again, that project is around 180 megawatts. Specifically tonight, I wanted to talk to you about the project that we are working on here in Pulaski County. Now, just kind of a little caveat that, we're still in some of the earlier phases as opposed to Mammoth or maybe NextEra. We're in a little bit earlier stage. So everything I kind of give you tonight is just sort of estimates on where we're at. This project is set to be 180 megawatts DC. We started working on the project in approximately 2020. Still in the early design phases. Just to give you an idea of where we're looking at, we are roughly due west of Winnemac. So we're in between 300 west and 600 west, right along 100 north, kind of on both sides of that. So that just gives you a rough idea of where the project's located. Right now, we're looking at, again, this could change, but right now, we're approximately 1,000 acres under panel is what we expect. Current estimates on the project are that it would be around a $300 million project. we are not seeking a tax abatement on this project. So the current tax estimates on this project would put us as paying around $50 million in taxes over the 35-year life of the project. Hope to begin construction in early to mid 24. And we estimate that the temporary labor during construction is anywhere to 300 to 350 construction workers. So again, I don't want to take up a lot of your time tonight. Just wanted to say hello, introduce myself, introduce you, let you know a little bit about the project. I provided you all with some handouts, some information about both the project and our company. And if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer them now or at a later date as well. So, yeah.
I don't have any questions.
Wish you good luck.
All right.
All righty.
Well, we appreciate it.
All
and
righty.
Look forward to working with you and all of your departments. So
Thanks for your presentation.
thank you.
Thank you for the information. Okay, Connie and Jason.
Good evening and thank you. I'm Jason Kuchmay. I represent Connie Ehrlich and many other property owners throughout Pulaski County. And I was talking to Connie the other day, and she mentioned to me that LightsourceBP would be presenting today, that there would be some discussion about a project with Invenergy, and that multiple other solar companies were recording leases on farm ground throughout the county. And it got me thinking, I know the county initially wanted to see some of these solar projects come to fruition, but mistakes were made in the process, whether pushing through incomplete applications, ignoring the requirements of the UDO, or as the courts have found, acting in an arbitrary and capricious manner. Rather than comply with the process, which allowed for BCA approval as a special exception with public input, the commissioners amended the UDO to make commercial solar a permitted use. We believe that mistakes were made in that process as well. And obviously there's a pending lawsuit challenging those amendments. But regardless, when I learned of these additional recorded leases, I asked myself if this is what the county really intended. While the county may have wanted to allow some of these projects for whatever reason, did the county really understand the Pandora's box that it was opening? Was that the intent, or is that now becoming an unintended consequence? If the UDO amendments stand, there's little barrier and nothing to stop commercial solar companies from jumping at the opportunity to take over the county. There's no limitation on the number of projects or the ability to control if it's permitted use. There's no limitation on the number of acres that can be utilized in the county for commercial solar. We can all just sit back and watch the county's productive farmland disappear. And that's what appears to be happening with the additional projects and all these recorded leases. It's already underway, and there's no reason for the solar companies to stop. There's no mechanism in place to control or to slow this development. And where does that leave the county in 30 years, in 10 years, or maybe even 5 years, when these projects don't turn out to be the panacea that you want to believe they are? There's many other states, many other counties, they're realizing this, and they're doing something about it. And Connie's going to address some of that in more detail. But we hope that Pulaski County will consider doing the same. Perhaps recognize this is not what you wanted, not on this scale, not by removing the protections that have been afforded by the prior UDO and the special exception process. Again, currently there's no limitation, there's no public notice, no public involvement, no buffering, and no game plan or control mechanisms in place. We've discussed many times over the last year or two some of the concerns that we have with property values, environmental concerns, fire safety concerns, economic concerns, decommissioning concerns, you name it. And frankly, just reinforcing all of that was an unsolicited email that I literally received while I was driving over here today from Fort Wayne. And this was from a reporter, again, just an unsolicited email he's reaching out to me. He's trying to establish some details. He said, we're trying to establish the impact that these projects will have on the soil of the land, particularly the topsoil and the land's soil biome. However, in Indiana and with the Mammoth project, we've been running into a strange hurdle. Normally, there would be engineer drawings that would detail the specific proposals for the installation of panels and charging stations. For example, how much of the land will have to be leveled or graded, how much of the topsoil will be removed and or replaced, whether a layer of gravel or concrete will be used to secure the steel structures holding the panels in place, etc. However, we're finding that these detailed engineering drawings are not available. I mean, there has to be a better approach than to just open the door to be trampled upon by the commercial solar and be left holding the bag. So we are again asking the commissioners to take a breath, engage in some damage control before the floodgates open even more than they already have, put a moratorium in place, put a hold on future applications, and use that time to consider redoing the UDO with input from all sides, with controls, with protections, with proper and with concrete standards to actually protect and to represent your county and your property owners. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Connie now.
You will recall in July of 2020 that Mammoth Solar presented their commercial solar project on 4,500 acres. They stated that this would only represent 2% of the county's farmland, that the ground was unproductive, and it would be located just underneath the power lines. If you want to fast forward to where we are today, 4 companies later, now we have 9 solar companies that have recorded land use contracts totaling 22,323 acres. That represents 11% of all of our harvested crop areas in the county. 22,323 acres. And now we've gone from ground that's located underneath the power lines to ground that's located far from the power lines. We've gone from ground that was stated as unproductive to some of the best soils we have in the county and probably in the state. There seems to be no end in sight and no mechanism to protect this valuable farm ground. And then there's also additional solar companies working in the area as well. Pulaski County is the only county that I know of that has removed protective solar ordinances to streamline the process for the solar developers. The rest of the country is alarmed with the loss of U.S. farm ground. They recognize the negative impact commercial solar has on agriculture, and they're doing something about that. For instance, U.S. Representative Tom Tiffany introduced a bill called Farm Act. This bill would eliminate energy tax incentives for solar panels and wind arrays on ag ground. Our Representative Kendall Culp authored HB 1557, which would require the Agriculture Department to inventory Hoosier farmland that's lost between the years 2010 and 2022 and identify the reason for the loss. Iowa Bill SF 2127 would not allow solar panel fields on ag land unless the land has a corn suitability rating of 65 or less and cannot be located within 1,250 feet from the nearest neighboring landowner. Kansas Senator Mike Thompson introduced Senate Bill 86 to stop unethical and corrupt practices surrounding renewable leases across Kansas. The country is also trying to crack down on foreign ownership. Foreign solar companies have found a way to work around this. They sign land control contracts, controlling the land for 30 to 60 years while being funded by our state, federal, and local governments. The only reason you have given for your stance on commercial solar is money. An economic impact study is crucial to determine the financial impact these large solar projects will have on the county. The impact study should include all recorded 22,300 some acres, not just the Invenergy solar project. The solar companies should make payments directly to the county for all expenses incurred on their behalf, including the cost of the impact studies. Solar companies should not directly pay Baker Tilly or any other firm hired to conduct the study. This creates a conflict of interest. it should be clear to Baker Tilly that they are hired by the county and not the solar company. For the study to be of any value, the study must contain reasonable assumptions. The study Baker Tilly and IDS conducted in December of 21 contained numerous flaws, and they used unrealistic assumptions. For instance, the study used outdated crop prices. They assumed that over 600 plus local construction workers. They assumed $900 would be paid to the landowners on all of the acreage, not where the solar panels are located, along with many other significant errors. The study should also evaluate the negative impact on neighboring property values. Just recently, a buyer walked away from purchasing a property in Pulaski County just days before the closing when he discovered that the property was going to be near Invenergy's solar project. He stated that he was no longer interested in the property at any price. Of interest, the property is also located within a mile of a commercial chicken farm. And he was willing to live beside the commercial chicken farm, but unwilling to live by a commercial solar project. Please take all these things into consideration. We're at a critical part in the county, 22,300 acres, and Carla probably knows of even more that aren't even recorded yet. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Gary?
Yeah, good evening. I just wanted to bring to your attention the purchase of possibly a different roller. Ours is the 1992, and we found a used one for 75,000 and also another one for 100,000, and wanted to kind of get the approval. We went and looked at both of them, and the one that was cheaper feels a better way to go. So I wanted to see if we could get the approval to move forward with this purchase.
Gary, a simple question here, quick question. How many hours does yours have on it, your roller?
I don't
Or does
know
it
if
have an
the hour
hour
meter,
meter?
I don't know if the hour meter works.
Okay,
Quite a few.
Yeah. okay. So on this used one at 77 hours, that's like 2 weeks work. That's like pretty
Yeah,
much a new
possibly, yeah, when
machine.
we're using it.
Okay.
Yay.
Yeah, well, I would make a motion to proceed with looking for one
We did go and look at both of these two rollers, drove them, and the BOMAG seemed to be a lot more friendly for user. It was not near as high.
Okay. So you're wanting to purchase it. So yeah, I would make a motion to purchase. To go ahead.
BOMAG, one that's user. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah. Well, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And Judge Walker? Yeah, good evening.
Have some information for you.
Okay.
Have some copies for you. If you recall, last year, the state came up with a new, they're calling it a grant.
Yes.
It isn't really, it's a grant, but not really a grant. It doesn't take anything new or different. It's the grant where they're paying us 60% of the unreimbursed costs for public defenders for what we call CHINs and TPR cases. So child in need of services cases and termination of parental rights. Last year, they gave us $4,407 and change. We spent part of that on a vape prevention program for the school. We've got some other plans this year to spend some of that. We'll be asking next week to have that appropriated so that we can spend it in a way that makes our auditor happy. So I just wanted you to know that and wanted people to apply for that grant again today. It doesn't take anything from the auditor other than she set up an account for us, and then I have to file a report. So it's pretty easy.
All
So
right.
that's my request tonight.
Sure. So yeah, I would make a motion to proceed with that grant. Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Also, just for your information, we have, it's first part of the year, and so we have had grant information come available. Family Treatment Court has been awarded $84,700. We're applying for a second grant to pay for public defender, and so hopefully that will go through as well. Our CASA grant had 2 grants approved. Our CASA program had 2 grants approved, one for $8,700 and change, and one for $3,700 and change, so a total of almost $12,500. So she's been approved for that. We always like to see that. Also, one of the things that Ms. Lucas, our juvenile probation officer, is looking at for that grant, the new odd grant, is an anti-bullying program. So we'll look at that and see whether that's appropriate. Any questions about our grants, the 4E grant at all?
No,
All right,
no
thank you.
question. Thank you. Okay, Nathan?
I don't want to alarm you, but I'll be fairly quick tonight.
All right.
First, quickly, construction project updates, Justice Center. DA Dodd will be on site on Thursday to implement the solution that we hope will finally solve the CASA noise issue. As we understand it, they'll be able to do it entirely from within the hallway, so they won't actually have to get into any of the office spaces. Maintenance has coordinated with the judge, who I think is checked with Jen and Sarah to make sure that's all right. Everything is good to go without disrupting anything too much. And I don't know exactly what magic Brian Delich worked at Ton and Blank, but we do not need to get a change order approved to make this happen. So that is a relief after the way this is drawn out. I've been working with maintenance, the sheriff's office, and all the other Justice Center departments to price panic alarm buzzers for the prosecutor's office and the circuit court. Other departments have them. Previous prosecutor's office suite before construction had them, but they were not included in the original construction plans. So we've got a couple of different contractors getting prices out to us, and we should have those late this week or early next week. Any questions on the Justice Center?
Yeah, was the group able to reinstall those panic buttons?
No.
They were not.
They were
Okay.
not involved in the panic button process.
Okay.
They are working with us on door controls and monitoring,
Okay.
but the panic buttons were a separate install.
Okay.
Courthouse project, as I've reported recently, things slowed a bit as we got really bogged down in the planning details, making sure that everyone had as much input as we could possibly keep track of. But we have finally hit the halfway point of the second stage of drawings, which is design development. I've sent a number of documents that I've received from the architects out to the steering committee to get their input on both some specific issues and some general issues. We are setting up a virtual meeting with Luminat Roland and one of their consultants on Friday to discuss some security related measures. And then we are working on scheduling an in-person committee meeting, talk about general progress to date, as well as some interior design and planning matters next week and following week if necessary. Our hope is that this second phase of drawings will be done and Ton and Blank will have had the chance to update pricing estimates in time to bring Matt up for an in-person presentation at the April joint session. Questions on the courthouse project? And then the last thing I have for you is the contract tonight ready to be approved with Ton and Blank to replace the roof above our heads. It's based on a standard American Institute of Architects template that the architects then made some tweaks to after getting input from the county and Ton and Blank. Kevin has reviewed it. He's all right with it. I sent it out to the 3 commissioners for your review in advance. And it is in the amount of $211,320 per the accepted bid. So if you are good with approving it tonight, they will get up on the roof as soon as the weather allows.
Sure, I would make a motion to approve.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Which wind velocity is the roof going to be?
55.
75?
55. That was the discussion that Chuck had raised, and he came back to me and said that he was okay with staying at 50 for the original.
It's so much cheaper.
Well,
I mean, we talk.
yeah, and normally on a roof, it is the updraft. Even on a lower wind will create a problem.
Flat.
Yeah, so
I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like we're good with what they've proposed.
I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion, a second. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Thank you. That's all I've got for you.
Okay, thank you. So next is Brandon.
Good evening. As you
Good
know,
evening.
the lead times on these ambulances is quite a ways out. And the one that we have ordered through that grant is going to be January of next year. I wanted to come to you guys and see if I could go ahead and get the bid process started on one. After that, keep a good rotation going. If they were to order a truck today, we'd be looking at second quarter of 2025. So I'd like to see if I can get a process started for that truck.
Yeah, and that's been part of the same discussion we've had here. And so, yes, I would make a motion to go ahead with that, proceed with that process. Getting bids, that'd be fine. Do we actually need a motion for that or just to go ahead?
Probably just to go ahead.
Just to go ahead, okay, or go ahead.
Then,
That's right, you're doing bids.
then next for the grant funds of that grant we were awarded, those do not get dispersed to us until our truck gets delivered in January of next year.
Okay.
I understand you guys were going to use other funds to purchase the other stuff that came with that grant. What I would like to do is see if we could go ahead and purchase those items, get them in use prior to getting that truck.
Yes, and would that be something we need to discuss next week? I'm not sure, at the joint session? Or is that, oh, it's already budgeted, that's correct? Yeah,
Not in my budget.
okay. So I think what we better do is, let's take this up next week at the joint session.
Okay.
And we'll get a go-ahead there on that.
Sounds good.
Yes.
That's all I had.
All right, thank you. Okay, next we have claims and payroll, payroll number 2. And I've looked at the claims and the payroll number 2, and I would make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Okay, now, on the January 17 minutes, I have looked at those. I make a motion to approve those minutes as presented. I would need a second on that. Okay. Got a motion and a second there. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, next we have bonds to approve for the coroner, Jennifer Johns, for $30,000. And then Deputy Treasurer Diane Hanson, it doesn't have an amount on that, so I would make a motion to approve those. Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Okay, and then next we've got the quick claim deed disclosure statement for David Zahrt Trust. And Mary, I think it's just a matter of signing that. Okay, so we'll sign that after the meeting. And then we have because there's no discussion on that, that's already been approved. So that's just signing. Okay, so then we have a conference request. Teresa Bryant, the county treasurer, the spring meeting at Carmel on March 7th, 23. And I would make a motion to approve that request.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second on that. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, now, Kevin, we have something here that we want to discuss, so now you have the floor.
Well, the Invenergy contract, we were gonna table that.
Yes.
We wanna talk about that. The Microvote, I don't know if Jolene's here or not. That's just a contract I reviewed for her. I'm not sure what my name's even next to it. That's a 2-year software update for their voting software that they need. So
Okay.
it's the same contract you signed before, so I would recommend you sign that contract for Microvote.
Okay.
But then I have a matter that, timely, after that other contract, that's this resolution establishing the policy by which members of the Pulaski County Commissioners may participate by electronic means of communication. This is something that we circulated to you guys back in November. The council adopted a similar resolution at their last meeting, and then we haven't got around to doing it here, but given Chuck's predicament for having to miss tonight, I think this highlights the fact that we need to get this in place. This just parrots the Indiana code exactly. The Indiana code lays out a process by which you can participate by electronic means if the situation is necessary. And so this resolution follows the ordinance and would be, I think, a good addition to the tools you have at your available to you.
And Kevin, what is that resolution? Does it have a number?
I don't know. That's on your.
Okay.
2023, whatever, probably number 1, I'm guessing.
All right.
I don't know if you know, but she assigns a number once a year.
Okay. So yes, I would make a motion to approve this resolution. Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Okay, well, that concludes our business for this evening. And the public has a right to attend the meeting and record if they choose. They do not have a right to participate in the meetings. For that reason, when I am serving as president, I will not be taking public comments. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Okay, I would second that motion. All signified by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.